So, still doing New York Comic Con prep, but I had a bit of time, still shedding like a cat, in between waiting for things to dry and whatever not, um, to watch I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025. This was not good. This was not good. What was it, like a year or so ago, whatever, when me and my buddy Andrea had watched I Know What You Did Last Summer 3, or whatever it was called, or I Still Fucking Know, damn it, straight to video sequel. But yeah, this was not good. This was obviously like legacy movie type of thing because in the trailer you already know, whoa, in the trailer you already know that Jennifer Love Hewitt is in it. And so similarly to Scream, when that was redone, it has that same vibe of like, we gotta revisit the old thing and the ba ba da ba ba da ba da da. Here's the old faces. Here we go. Pretty much like this, like, here's all these characters pretty much playing the same fucking characters as previously, but now this is different because it's the new young hip people, you know. But we're still acknowledging the old stuff, and then like, who could be the anyway. So in this one, you know, it's a group of friends in fucking North Carolina. And they're so much more vapid in this one. And also, like, I mean, I get it. When I saw this movie in theaters in 1997, I remember it was kind of like, the original one was a little bit scarier because it was like, who fucking knows kind of thing. And, like, this movie didn't have, like, the blood. Like, it's a horror movie. It's a slasher horror movie, and you're not showing that much blood. Like, it's not a lot. There's not a lot of kills you really see like on camera. Oh, whoops! Did I forget to say spoilers? Well, it's not good. It's spoilers there, but it's not good. Like, whereas in the Scream one, they were just like, nah, we going for this. Ah! And then we got gorgeous Melissa Barrera there with her perfect eyebrows. Like, fuck it, I know I'm Billy's daughter, but fuck this shit. And it was like, that's amazing. I love that. Like, sure, that makes sense that, he had a kid, fine. That part. I was always like, and then this one was just like, um, this one, like, anything scary part where you're like, it just wasn't, it didn't give that same kind of like, oh, what could happen? What could happen? It didn't even do like stupid Bloomhouse jump scare shit. It just like, I looked at what this director has previously done. They've never done horror before, and I get it. You don't have to be strictly a horror director to do horror movies, but there's like a certain amount of things you want to see in a horror movie. Like, am I focused or am I? There I am. Okay. I took this camera to go to a concert and I just finagled it a little differently. Anyway, so, but yeah, I think they just did like teen movies or something, which this movie did read just like a regular teen drama, that they're just like, oh my god, we're dying. I mean, which granted, that's usually how a lot of slasher movies where it takes place with high schoolers. It's just like, oh my god, I'm hot, you're hot. Oh my god, my boobs are out. Oh my god, I'm dead. And you're like, sure. Um, but this one, it's just like, I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry, I do not give a fuck. You're like, okay, fine. Jennifer Love Hewitt is back. Awesome. You know what I mean? And then as I was watching the movie, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, Freddie Prinze Jr. is back. I got the spoiler that Sarah Michelle Gellar somehow was back, even though she died, from Tumblr. Because I saw it and I was like, okay. And then they did like the digital de-aging thing, which, like, really, Sarah Michelle Gellar isn't that old. Like, she's like 46 or something or whatever. But I get it because, like, in that movie, she's supposed to be like 17 or whatever. So I get it that they just kind of like smooth the lines a little bit. I mean, they also put that like Drag Race season 1 filter over her. They like smooth the lines a bit. You know what I mean? And I think they like filled out her face because obviously she was younger during the Buffy years. You know what I mean? And she had the baby fat kind of thing. Because you're like 20 something or whatever when you were in that role. Now she's like older and she's like a mother, so the body is a little bit different. But that whole like dream sequencing, I was like, sure, we just have that. Like, that kind of went Nightmare on Elm Street, where the girl is like, I'm in a police, station. I can't leave the room. Well, I fell asleep and took a nap. I didn't know I took a nap. Now I'm running away from the killer. And then someone who previously died in another movie is there giving me, like, advice. And she's like, I've got the hook, kind of thing. And I was like, okay, girl. I mean, it's fine. Sarah Michelle Gellar just, she was there, she's her cameo. But then, like, they woke up, they're like, something must be happening, and they're like, and then the cop opens the door, they're like, yeah, you're free to go. And it's like, cool, great police work as always. But yeah, in this movie, it was like, there's so many, like, rich kids in this one, whereas, I mean, I think in the other one, they were, I don't know if they were rich. It was the 90s, so it was the Clinton era, so there was a surplus. So, like, obviously, all the kids had, like, a car and stuff and money and time to do things because it was 97. You know what I mean? Whereas now it's like, I don't know, we're just gonna die. Um, in this one, they had, like, what's his name? Tyreek, what's his face? He played kind of like the Ryan Phillippe character, where he's like the hot one. He's the jock. He's the outlandish one. He had, like, a steam room scene that was very similar to Ryan Phillippe's scene, where he was, like, in the shower, and then, like, it was like, oh wow, I mean, this movie, didn't go full, like, it was a little self-aware, but it didn't do the whole, like, oh, the one girl who was, like, the rich blonde pretty one, like, she didn't die, because she's supposed to be the Sarah Michelle Gellar character, but she didn't die. What's her face that was in Bodies, 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 who's supposed to be like the Jennifer Love Hewitt character? She lived. None of the guys lived, what I thought was funny. One of them is, what's his name, who was, like, live action Prince Eric from the Little Mermaid movie, which was funny because I had just finished watching the current season of Doctor Who, and he was the bad guy in it. So when he showed up in this, and I was just like, hey, you know. So, it's this time the reason why was just so stupid, because whereas last time it was like, they're driving a car and blah blah blah, and like, woo, we're drunk, all of a sudden someone was just standing in the middle of the road, which is just, like, crazy because you're in this windy road. They're like, oh no, we killed him, and they're like, what are we gonna do? And then they just, like, dumped him in the water. It was like, god damn. Whereas this one was like, they're parked in, like, that hairpin curve, and they're all like, we're stupid, we're gonna, oh, someone's driving by, kind of stuff. And it was like, what? So, like, this was more, I feel like this was more on purpose than, whereas the last one was just, like, an accident, because they're just like, whoa, and then they're like, let's dump the body, which, that's not an accident, that's just terrible. And then this one, they're just like, they're purposely trying, like, someone was like, oh, okay, they got it. And then someone else was like, and then they hit the guardrail, and it was like, what? They're like, we should help him, and then they're like, oh no, they're screwed. What? And then instead of being like, call the cops, and be like, I don't know, like, make something up, dude, to be like, hey, like, we saw this car careening, and then we stopped. You could make something the fuck up. Jesus Christ. They just, like, let that car go over, and they're like, oopsie. And then they just, like, leave and bolt the scene. It's like, wow, guys. You know what I mean? And then also, like, the Tyreek's character, like, his dad is, like a mayor or senator. He's somewhere in politics. So they're able to cover it up anyway. So why not just, like, let the authorities know about it? And then, you know that this dude's, like, kid is, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we're using your politician dad's privilege? Come on. I mean, they did to a degree, because then they were just like, it was a stolen car, and blah, 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 and all that shit. And then, like, what was it? The one girl, the blonde, she was in Glass Onion, the second one. And she's like, oh, I'm engaged, and then, like, fuck that. She was engaged to Tyreek's character, and then after the whole situation happened, he kind of, like, went in a downward spiral, and so she, like, said fuck it with him, and then a year later, she's newly engaged to a different guy, because people just work fast like that. And of course, she's rich, she's got this mansion, and she's like, oh, I need time to myself. So she, like, puts in, like, the most bloodiest bath bomb. And she drops this bath bomb in, and it's just like, it's just like, cool, you're on your period, and you decided to soak. Like, I'm just saying, that's what it looked like. It was just like, bloop, like, I understand the whole effect was like, something's gonna happen, but like, goddamn, bitch, you ain't gonna have one of those like frothy blue ones that everyone uses. Like, come on. I think the last time I used one was like literally the color of my hair. It looked like I just like bathed and just like, oh, I'm also gonna do my hair as well, you know? Come on. Anyway, and then that guy dies, and she comes out. She's like, she had like the meditation app thingy, you know. But like, she comes out. She's like, honey, da da da, and he's just like there, like harpoon, like, you know. And it was just like so ridiculous that so many of the fucking kills in the movie were just kind of like that, where you just end up discovering someone, they're dead, and they're just like, I'm harpooned, you know, and it's like, okay, you know, like, sure. Um, and yeah, so once they like, once they were able to like track down Jennifer Love Hewitt's character and all that stuff, I had a feeling she wouldn't die. It was gonna be like when they got Nev Campbell back, and it was just like, cool, Nev Campbell's back. All right, you know, that's cool. And then it was just like, all right, don't bother her, don't bother her. You know what I mean? It's just like Nev Campbell was there for one movie, and then just don't bother. You know what I mean? I knew Jennifer Love Hewitt wasn't gonna die. You know, it's just like she's like that type of character where she's like you go through, you know, like legacy. You know, like I never die. You know, like okay, sure. Um, you know, they have the repeating lines of like, what are you waiting for? You know, or like, I love when the girl approached her. She's like, or my friend also got like a note and da da da. And then she like got really close to her. She's like, what did you do last summer? And it was like, Emmy, Emmy, Emmy. I mean, also, come on, come on, you know. And then like, whereas in the first movie it was like some dude named Ben type of thing, this one was like this one was like, you know, there was like the reveal and all that shit. Like they have a friend in the group who like just like had gone through rehab or whatever stuff, and then she showed up to that girl's engagement. They're like, oh my god, even Stevie's here, and she's like, hey guys, like I'm so, which I was already like, might be her, because she has like the same type of energy that what's that girl, Mikey something, she was in, and she was Honora, you know what I mean, she was the killer in the Scream First Legacy movie, you know, and it's like that same energy of like, I'm kind of weird and like kind of off-putting, but like people really really like me because I'm just like not like other girls type of character, you know. So I was just like something just told me, I'm like, and you know, she's not on camera a lot, so I was like, type of shit. And then Freddie Prinze Jr. coming in during like the town hall meeting and just being like, I don't know why. Like, yes, he's aged, yes, his hair is white, it happens. But like, why did he end up sounding so old? He's like, this is different from when it happened in '97. I'm like, wait, Sandy, I don't need it. I'm like, Freddie, you've done like voice work for like Star Wars things, and you don't sound like that. Did you do that on purpose to be like, I'm old, I'm old, damn it? Like, the fuck, man? Bro sounded like fucking Joe Biden. Like, oh my god, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're, it's like I was at Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer Love Hewitt is just kind of like, I'm there, you know, kind of thing. Like, no one sounded different. Anyone made the cameo, like, I mean, Sarah Michelle Gellar always sounds like that, you know? It's just some reason he's like, you guys forgot what happened to us in 1997? Why do you sound like that, bro? You know, like, you know. Anyway, so like he stayed by, whereas like Jennifer Love Hewitt's character teaches at a local college that's like, what did the girl say? Like 45 minutes, 2 hours away. Like still in North Carolina, but like not, you know, like in that town. Whereas Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character stayed in that town and opened a bar type shit. You know, I don't know why. Like, I don't know. Like, so just I don't know. Sometimes moving on isn't a choice for certain people. Yeah, and then you learn that like, you know, he's the because he owns that bar, and that girl Stevie, you know, the I'm not like other girls kind of girl. Oh god, burping. Nope. Okay. No. The rehab chick, she works for Freddie Prinze Jr. and I was like, again, still very like, okay, I know where this is going, and I've said this before. Sometimes you know where it's going, but the journey to that is awesome, so you don't care that you predicted the ending. And then there's shit like this where you knew where it was going, and then it shows you exactly what you predicted, and at no point were you like, that was fun. Because on the way there, it was just like, I guess in this sense, it's like once you kind of figured it out, I guess it's not like as interesting. I don't know. I guess if you kind of somehow figured out the ending to Fight Club, and then you're watching it, you're like, I no, actually feel like that's more like, what? You know? I mean, Fight Club was more thought out. This was just like, what the fuck is happening? So, like, more killings happen, what's his name? Prince Eric dies. That's what I'm going to refer to him as. Prince Eric dies. They're all dead. Again, like, these characters die either off screen, or if they do get killed, they don't really show much. I think, what was it, what character? Some character got actually slashed in the throat. I think it was the groundskeeper at the cemetery. Some character actually got slashed in the throat by the hook, and it was like the editing style or whatever felt like they forgot that this was a horror movie. So it was just like, oh, we're gonna slash, and then it cuts away, but then it cuts back like, oh, like, and it kind of like jump cut closer, like, they're like, oh, cut away to blood splash, and then, oh, wait, we gotta get the close, we gotta show it, wait, oh wait, close up, and it was like, did you forget what type of movie you were making? Did you forget? I think you forgot. I don't think you realize what type of movie you're making, because it doesn't feel like that type of movie, So yeah, like, like all these characters are killed, and like they have like I guess she's a singer. She's like, I have a podcast and I'm so like alt. I have a podcast and I'm so obsessed. And I came to this town and I'm making out with a girl from Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. And I'm so different. And I know everything about this situation. And then when she's about to get killed, she goes, oh my god, it's you. And that's when I was like, that's when it confirmed to me who the killer was. When she was like, oh, she's like, it's you, kind of thing. Because it's like, if she knows the case, if she sees a certain face, who could it be, right? Who could it be? Yeah, so anyway, to the third act, when like finally, they're like, Tyreek's character, like all the dudes die, and the only thing is left is that girl Stevie and Miss Bodies, and then Miss Glass Onion. The three of them are like, let's go on a boat and sail into the water and like get away from all the thing. The killer can't follow us out there. And then all of a sudden, like, there's the killer and the slicker and all that stuff, and then reveals himself, and it's like, wow, it's Stevie. I would not have guessed. And then she reveals that it was like none of you cared, and all you rich kids. So it's like, okay, the one poor kid who hangs out with the rich kids, and then when they had a problem, the rich kids didn't give a fuck about them. And it's kind of, I get they're supposed to be in are they supposed to be in high school? Are they college people? I think are they college age? I don't know. They just have a lot of money, especially if you're getting engaged like that. Let's say they're 24. I don't know. Anyway, but it's because of that. So like, she goes to rehab. There's like a church that they go to that looks like a decommissioned IHOP. And she meets like, I guess, whatever guy who probably ran the program, and then they fall in love, and that guy was the guy in the car, because then they found out that like the car was registered to the pastor, and they're like, what? He's like, yeah, that guy Sam or whatever who died took the pastor's car to pick her up, because she was like not feeling it with her group of friends, because she was like, oh, I need them to pick me up because I'm feeling uncomfortable because they're being rich and wild and they're not going to suffer any consequences. And then something happened, and so to suffer the consequences, I'm like, I'm going to kill them. Like, what? Rather than like, you could have, like, I don't know, in this day and age, did like an expose and been like, yo, they killed this thing. And also, like, all this stuff happened. You had a phone out. You could have, like, recorded. I don't know. Murder isn't usually, that says a lot for me. Murder isn't the first thing that comes to mind with something like this, especially mass murder. And I'm being hyperbolic. I'm joking. I don't think about murder. It's a joke, please. In this day and age, you have to say you're joking because people start freaking out. Anyway, so like, yeah, so she's like, I'm gonna start killing all of them, and then she knew about the case because obviously her boss is, the guy, and so. And somehow Freddie Prinze Jr. is like, yeah, I'll help you kill because everybody forgot about what happened to us in '97. Like, what? Dude, you survived this twice. The first, and then you were in the, was it Bahamas or something with Brandy and shit. And then Jack Black, remember Jack Black was in the movie? He had like locks. That wasn't weird at all. So it's like, wow, you're the killer. And then it's just like, okay, bang, 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 boom, 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 die, 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 you know? And then like the two girls come out of the hospital, like yeah, they're just like, oh, we somehow survived somehow. It's horror movie logic. It's like Mason Gooding at the end of the next Scream movie where he was like stabbed a bajillion times, and then he still was like with the oxygen, like we're like, how is he alive? It's all those muscles. All those muscles kept him alive. All the muscles. So they're all like, oh, it's like Stevie's somehow alive because she got like shot or something, or like bludgeoned or something, and then fell over. Like, fine, like she's alive. She goes to jail. Good riddance. And then like like also yeah, like I love how Jennifer Love Hewitt's character just immediately knew what happened because she was like, wait, something. Looks up that girl Stevie and was like, oh my god, the website for the bar for Freddie Prinze Jr. It's like bar owner or bar manager or something, and it was like, oh my god. And then she's like, I already know. And it's like, wow, god, you solve it faster than the police, as always. And so yeah, mid-credit sequence, Brandy's there. She's like watching, she's a mom now, she's got a husband, she's like watching, television, and then the husband's like, isn't that your college roommate? What? And then she's like, oh my god, knock on the door. There it is. And apparently this is sequel bait because, Jennifer Love Hewitt's character gets a freaking thing with a picture of the two of them from the second movie with an X over Brandy's face. She goes, and it says like, I still know, or some shit like that. And then it was just like, like, I'm sorry to bring you in this, but, and then Brandy's like, whose ass do we have to kick? And Jennifer Love Hewitt was like, I'm glad you said, I was like, I'm glad you're on board. And it was like, end of the movie. And it was like, what? So there's going to be a second one because we, again, as I've said, we saw how well the Scream movies did until they decided to fire beautiful Melissa Barrera because they're stupid, So they're gonna sequel bait this. It's gonna be Jennifer Love Hewitt and Brandy as like I'm guessing the main characters next time. I don't know where are they gonna go from this. Is it gonna come out next year? Blah 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 or something. I don't know. Oh, my camera's dying. Anyway, I am done talking. But yeah, this was not good. The third installment, like I said, I watched with my buddy, was a lot funnier, was a lot better, because there was a guy who decided to skateboard off around the edge of a building really high up. They didn't have that in this movie. This was, again, far too predictable. There's an alarm that keeps going off. Far too predictable, like, far too boring. It's a horror movie, like, show something. Give me something. God, give me something. Anyway. The end.